Alright, hello everyone, my name is Shep, welcome back to the Butcher's Circus. Today we have a very special episode here. We are going to be playing Chef's Dress, and not only are we going to be playing Chef's Dress, we're going to be playing every single variant of Chef's Dress. So there are 4 of them, and we're going to be giving all 4 of them a go. So right now we are playing against a very nasty Halo-like comp. It's not really a Halo comp, it's Halo-like. So it should be pretty fun to see what actually happens here. I'm gonna go for a guard, which might look a little bit weird, but I'm not preoccupied with getting stunned here. I don't think the Abomination is very likely to stun me, and if he does decide to go for a slam, I'm just gonna go to position 4, and there's no reach from the Jester or the Bounty Hunter, so I'm gonna be quite happy in case that does happen. So we are in a little bit of a weird matchup here. Well, it's not a weird matchup, but it's not a fantastic matchup, because my Flagellant does not have Reclaim, so that's kind of the problem with the original Shep's Dress, is that you don't really have a lot of healing options, apart from the Flagellant when he's actually close to 0 HP, and the doggy just using Lick Wounds, Abomination, Self-Heal. Like, that's basically all you have. You can also run Reclaim on the Flagellant, but then you really suffer against other good stress teams, especially if they have Riposte. So this is kind of what you have to go for if you want to achieve the power of the Bouncy spamming doggy. So right now I think I want to go for a very nice Rain of Sorrows. I'm quite happy that it hit that hard, quite happy. Sad that it didn't get to bleed on the Jester, but you know what, I got the hit already, so I should be happy for that. There's gonna be a slam right now, so I'm probably gonna get pushed to the back. Oh, I'm not. Interesting. That means that I will be able to continue to use Lick Wounds, but I will also be targetable with sniper shots, so it's good and bad. I am gonna go for a Hansari here, and I must say I'm getting quite lucky. Not getting the bleed there is a little bit unlucky, just a touch, but I'm getting quite lucky to get all these hits, and a crit as well, without even having used the command buff, so that is pretty nice. I'm gonna get put down to 0 HP here, it's not the end of the world, I can just click and go for a Lick Wounds, please crit. It would have been very nice to get a crit there. But overall my doggy is doing relatively well now. He's probably going to get slammed, and after the slam it's going to be a little bit more difficult to keep him alive. But hopefully he gets pushed, and with the push we have some funny ways of saving him, hopefully. So there could be a pull, there could be caltrops. I say that there's probably going to be a pull, and there's probably going to be a pull into a Dirk Stab or something like that, but since I don't go first next round, I don't see any real use of going for a stun here on the Jester. I'd rather just, you know, if I did go first next round, I would really like to survive with my doggy, so I'd go for a stun on the Jester after the Bounty Hunter action, and just try to keep my regen for next round and then use another Hansari. But the way we're going, I don't think that's going to be too possible here, especially considering the guard break on us. So I think just sacrificing the doggy here, potentially sacrificing the doggy, is going to be the best thing you can do, and hopefully just try doing damage to the enemy team in general. So the Bounty Hunter is going to go for a come hither. Does he get it? Does get the 50-50, so that is a touch unfortunate, but what can you do? And right now I'm just going to go ahead and drop a Bellow. If you want to drop a Dirk Stab onto my Flagellant, and so be it. I'm gonna have the crit chance, I'm gonna have the Exsanguinate. Oh no, he wants to drop a solo. Oh, I see. Now, did I apply the Battle debuff? No, I did not. He currently has 11 to 20 damage with that, with a pretty decent finale. But I don't think there's a finale coming just yet. Not before I drop this Rain of Sorrows at the very least. That's a very decent amount of DOT we've done. Yeah, Chef's Dress has really good offensive capabilities, not only with doing stress, but also with doing DOT. Like, it applies a lot between the Flagellant and the Abomination and the doggy. With all that they have, they can really tear through an enemy team, especially if they're not being teared through quite as quickly. So if it's a bit of a passive team, as long as they don't have Riposte, or as long as you can somewhat ignore that Riposte, you're just gonna shred through anything, and that's really good. It gives this team really good matchups against anything that's DOT related, and that's something that not all stress teams have. And what is this Abomination doing? Was this a desync? That would be really sad if this was a desync, because I feel like this was gonna be a fun match. Yeah, that must have been a desync. Maybe not, maybe we're gonna reconnect. No, that was a desync. Oh well, that's unlucky. I honestly think that I probably would have won that match, but nothing was guaranteed, because, you know, we weren't quite at Afflictions yet, but we were gonna get to Afflictions soon. My Flagellant would potentially die to a finale here sooner rather than later, but I'd still have the second transformation with my Abomination, then the Man at Arms would just bellow everything out, so I'm not too sure who would win there, but it would have been a fun match, but let's go on to SHEP'S Stress number 2. Alright, and here we go, on to a match number 2, this time playing with SHEP'S Stress number 2. So, and we're playing against the like one of the most basic stress comps. I think I made a video on this team a while back saying that this was the best beginner team, and it is, I do believe it is. It's a very, very solid team that we're playing against today, and I would prefer having SHEP'S Stress now rather than SHEP'S Stress number 2, but SHEP'S Stress number 2 is going to have an Antiquarian, and I'm going to bring Tears of the Lost Black Diamond Mirror. There's a lot of different things you can bring on her, but I'm quite happy with this setup, so right now I'm gonna go for transformation and just disrupt this Crusader, because not really to prevent Polarco Fight, but to prevent Zell's accusation. Also, I must mention that SHEP'S Stress number 2, 3, and 4 weren't really made by me. The teams already existed, or existed after SHEP'S Stress was built, but basically the whole idea of SHEP'S Stress, which is Flagellant, Abomination, Man at Arms, Doggy, was kind of forgotten for about 2 years, because I used it in the first ever Mike-fueled Butcher Circus tournament, so that was like late 2020, like a couple months after the Butcher Circus came out, and after that I lost that tournament while playing with SHEP'S Stress. I lost it to a Halo comp because I didn't go first, and after that happened I kind of just said, you know what, just screw this team, I'm gonna play what everyone else is playing, I'm gonna play the meta Mark comps, and the team was basically forgotten. Then I came back to it and I was like, wait a second, this team is actually not too bad. So yeah, that was pretty good. And in terms of SHEP'S Stress number 2, this team has probably been used before by other people, I'm not entirely sure. It's not too popular because Antiquarian hasn't been too popular recently, which is sad because she's definitely she's definitely very stellar. She's a stellar character. She has a lot of good things going for her. She also has AoE stress like the Doggy, though she doesn't have quite as much stress as the Doggy does. She has a way of moving back with take cover with stealth, so that's a really good thing to have. And she has party regen, which can be really good. It's not going to be that useful in this matchup because we're playing in stress with the Hound's Aerie, so we really have to be scared of the stress, not the damage, not the collateral damage. So I'm probably not gonna go for Rejuvenating Vapors for a while. I was thinking, oh, is that gonna get a crit? I was thinking about that Holy Lance. Fire was thinking about it as well, and yeah, it did hurt quite a bit. But it's not the end of the world. We're gonna drop our Reign of Sorrows here, doing some nasty bleeds to that backline, and we do have one massive advantage in this matchup, which is the fact that we have the Flagellant, and also the fact that we have the Virtue chance on this Antiquarian. So comparing SHEP'S Stress number 2 to SHEP'S Stress number 1, this one is definitely way more defensive, because you're gonna have an Antiquarian, you're gonna have either dodge, you're gonna have regen on her most likely, and you're not gonna play her quite as aggressively as you'd play a Doggy. You know, there's no attack whistle Crimson Hook shenanigans. There's no even if you do get pulled by, for example, a come hither, you can always use take cover and play it safe. You have a much different playstyle when it comes to that. So here I'm just gonna de-transform. I'm gonna go for a self-heal and just keep myself happy. So comparing the two and their matchups, I'd say that Hound's Aerie would be a lot better against most stress matchups. Sometimes there's Riposte, and Rejuvenating Vapors does really come in clutch, so if you're facing teams with like 2 Ripostes, then having the ability of using Rejuvenating Vapors is definitely a lot better than having Hound's Rush, because Hound's Rush is pretty much garbage. So having the Rejuvenating Vapors will be a touch more useful than just using the Hound's Rush. But if you're playing against smart teams, you're not going to have quite as much stress output. But if you have regen, it can be really clutch, and even if you don't have the regen trinket, if you have double dodge, that double dodge can be really clutch. It can be tough, very tough to hit and very tough to kill. Especially closer to the end of the match when there's already afflictions inbound and there's already minus accuracies from the afflictions and all that nasty stuff. So right now I can go for a Festering Vapors, which I don't think would be too smart. What I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna wait for the Zell's accusation so I actually have more crits. I think that's gonna be what I'm gonna go for. And do I Festering Vapors into the Riposte? It's gonna hurt. Yeah, it's gonna hurt quite a bit, and it blights me as well, but I think I have to go for it. The thing is, when you're playing SHEP'S and you're playing against other stress teams, and they don't have a flagellant and you do, you have a little bit of a huge advantage, because at the end of the match they're always gonna have to deal with your content map solution. That's not too easy. We are dropping to 0 HP here with the Abomination, which means we're gonna have to heal, sadly. That's a very big roll from the Crusader, but what can you do about it? We are definitely gonna have to heal here. The rule of thumb is, in these sorts of defensive teams, you use redeems before exsanguinates, right, to try and save your team. That's the rule of thumb. But usually you want to keep the pressure on you until you drop the Death Star and then you use the redeem, but in this situation we really can't, because getting the second transformation off is imperative on any of the SHEP'S variants. So we're just gonna heal this Abomination here, put him back at an HP where he's comfortable, and hopefully get our second transformation off and just go from there. So you can see that compared to the previous match by round 3, we have done way less stress. Way less stress. That's because we've been using command, we've been using bolster, and she doesn't really do that much stress with her festering vapors, and yeah, Flagellant had to use redeem there, blah blah blah. So not too fantastic, but then again we do have the late game going for us. I'm gonna drop a bell right now just to reduce the damage output. I'm really not liking the collateral damage at this point. It's being a little bit too much. Just a touch too much, and we're gonna see if we can make these two characters still work. There is a decent chance that I dodged the riposte, you know, pretty decent chance. I mean, there is a command buff on there, but even with the command buff, he only has plus 16 accuracy on it, and yeah, it's not too much accuracy compared to my 40 dodge. Should I go for it is a question. You know what, I have a command buff. Command buff equals crits, but I don't get the crit and they do. Oh, that is not great. Yeah, that is not great. Anti-Grain isn't doing too well here, and she also doesn't go for it. So this is the kind of situation where having a SHEP'S number 4 would be fantastic, because you have an occultist with SHEP'S number 4. Probably the most competent of the SHEP'S, maybe even more competent than SHEP'S, you know, the original one. Because Occultist is really a fantastic character. I put him in the 4 worst characters, but I think I'm gonna have to rectify that. It's just that he feels terrible to play if you're going against the wrong people and if you're in the wrong matchup. But yeah, here I'm gonna click because I don't want to die to a death blow onto my Abomination immediately. So I'm just gonna click here. I'm gonna go for something. Does that do enough stress? Not quite, but there's only 8 points of horror there, so it is going to cause the affliction on the enemy Abomination, and that doggy is really suffering from the DOT and the stress that I'm also going to apply with the second transformation. Not only that, the Man-at-Arms is completely useless against my Flagellant, and I will be able to take out that Crusader in a 1v1 pretty handily, because Punish and Exang is a lot better than Zealous, especially once he starts going Afflicted. So he's going to transform and go for a Slam. Rolls for enough HP, I could be screwed here. If there's a 20% death blow, I will be really screwed here, but hopefully that's not what happens. I'm gonna go for my best play at this point, which is gonna be a transform and slam onto the Abomination, because that's gonna prevent Holy Lands, and that's gonna prevent any action from the Abomination. So we do get the crit slam, but even with that extra chance, it was still a 50-50 because he got 2 transformations off in a row. So yeah, I really hope that Fire here messes up and doesn't go for the 20, because the play is definitely to roll for the 20 right now. Oh yeah, here it comes. Okay, there's an Affliction, and Masochistic, that's not too good. If he hits himself, he could drop the Death Star and then not do enough damage with the Hounsari. Okay, he did do enough damage there, but it wasn't the end of my Flagellant. I wasn't really expecting an Abomination with damage debuffs to do that much. Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't expecting him to roll for enough HP on my Flash, but I guess he did have a crit buff, so it does make sense. Does sort of make sense. Who do I want to heal here? I think you're dead regardless. Yeah, I'm sorry, Avon. I think you're gone anyway. I'm gonna heal the Man-at-Arms here just to keep him alive, and he'll keep me alive as well. So let's go by that route. And I'm not sure if this Abomination wants to de-transform and Beast-Spile. If he does, then I still have a pretty good death blow chance on him. But if he doesn't, then I'll be okay to just use Festering Vapors here. If I click, I'm pretty sure I'm gone. So I take 16, that's plus, and yeah, 16 in the stress from being in transformation mode. Yeah, he's gone. He's a complete goner at this point. But maybe I can make something happen here. I'm gonna go for Festering Vapors. Hopefully I do enough. I wish I could do 2 damage. Ah, she moves forward. That's bad. I wish I could do 2 damage to that doggy, but we really don't. We are hitting everyone pretty hard. We're finally getting blights on these 2 front characters, and that's also really good because they're dropping down to 0. Now, one bad thing of the Z stress comp, which is what my opponent is playing, is that your heals, you do have somewhat more healing than what SHEP'S does. You have more infinite healing in the form of the Rally to Define, but your heals are small, they're very tiny, so any big damage that's applied kind of sticks for a very long time. And if you're playing as a Flagellant, you know, Redeem kind of just turns all the damage away. But if you're playing against a Crusader, then a lot of the damage you apply just makes it so he's probably just gonna stay at a low amount of HP for a very long time. So we're gonna drop a bell right now. I was hoping that there would be some act outs for stress to just take out my Abomination, but if fire doesn't get like a crit 0 right now on my Abomination, then I'm going to go kaput on him. Oh, that is really good actually. That is really good. That's a pass on that A-bomb, which means that Festering Vapors could be a death blow, but I did not command buff, so my accuracy right now is in the gutter. Yeah, I wanted to drop that Bellow there. I felt like Bellow for the Affliction would have been very nice. He's gonna click again. He has almost enough stress on him to go down, but it's not quite enough just yet. He's gonna do that, probably gonna go for a self-heal, right? I think there's no world where you don't self-heal here to just stay alive. And yeah, there it goes. And there's still a decent amount of DOT. It's just not a great amount, just a decent amount. I'm gonna command buff here because my characters really like that accuracy, so I'm gonna do that, and then Festering Vapors will be coming with potentially a death blow onto that Houndmaster. The Harry is gonna come potentially with a death blow as well, so not all is good in the hood. Is that... no, that's just stress. A Masochistic Doggy is really bad here. It's a really bad thing to have. I'm kind of surprised by the self-heal. I don't think that was too smart of a move. I really don't think that was too smart of a move, because right now I'm gonna keep hitting him, and he's still gonna be dropping to 0 HP, I believe. Did I not get the Blight? What? Who did I crit? Oh, I crit the Crusader for 0, I see. Yeah, I crit the Crusader for 0. I was like, hang on a second, if I crit the doggy, because I didn't see any crits here, if I crit the doggy, then how did I not get a blight on him? But no, I did not crit the doggy, that was my mistake. Yeah, so I'm just gonna move forward here with the Flagellant, and we do still have 3 Exsanguinates inbound. We do no longer have Redeems, but that's not too bad. It's gonna be Act Out Zealous, so act out the correct play, but thankfully it doesn't hit because no command buffs. Let's go, that is awesome. I could go for a Festering Vapors immediately, and I will actually, before my Anti-Quenches dies. I'm gonna make use of her command buff, and I'm gonna do this. So who did I crit this time? Was it the doggy? I don't know. I don't know who I crit. Oh yeah, it was the doggy this time. Is he gone? Yeah, he's gone. He's gone to that DOT. So going for that Lick Wounds is really not a good play. Same thing with going for Rejuvenation in this kind of matchup. They are both not good plays, because you're not going to be able to make use of them. There's just way too much DOT and way too much stress being applied. It's not going to matter. Now there's going to be a Zealous here. It doesn't quite drop us to 0, but the DOT will drop us to 0. That's not the end of the world here. I am thinking of going for a guard on this Flagellant, because a guard will probably prevent a lot of death blows from coming through, but the doggy corpse, the big doggy corpse, is also going to go away soon, so I'm not entirely sure that's the case. Now, one thing that I do want to happen is that I do want to wait out that Houndmaster action, so right now I'm going to go for... I don't want to go for a Bellow here, because a Bellow would be kind of silly. I am instead going to go for a guard onto this Flagellant, so maybe that does a little bit of a difference here. Maybe that does a difference. After I heal, maybe Zealous doesn't do enough damage to drop me down to 0, and that's weird to go for the Houndmaster immediately, because I think going for the Mana Ramster immediately would have been better, because it would have prevented me from going Reign of Sorrows right now. But since you have done that already, I can go Reign of Sorrows. I won't cause a heart attack on the... I won't cause a heart attack on the doggy, and I'll be okay. I'm gonna go for this and say goodbye to Abomination. The crit was good, it was cool, so was the death blow, but it was very unnecessary. He was dead anyway to the horror. And right now I am in a 3v2 advantage, which is really nice, and that Crusader is also having a terrible time here. My Man-at-Arms is gonna go Afflicted at last. We do have Numbing Instance Bolster, so that's one of the coolest combos you can use. I don't know why my opponent didn't use Bolster, that's definitely weird of them. But, yeah, it's okay. Is that a self-hit again? No, it isn't. That's not really what I wanted to do, but it's not the worst play of the world. Yeah, I didn't want to heal. The Flagellant is going for a safer play than what I would have gone for. I would have gone for a Punish on the Crusader, because now he'd be gone. And I do like my Crusader completely being gone. So yeah, there's going to be a heal now. There's a Desktop Recovery, there isn't a Bolster buff, which means that Bellow is definitely going to cause enough stress to put him back down to 0, and then Festering Vapors might get the death blow. Even if it doesn't, it might do enough stress with a crit. Now, it won't do enough stress, but it will get him very, very close, and that's what matters here. So yeah, I think that we're in a very, very dominant position as of right now. It was definitely a little bit closer than what it should have been. Going second didn't help at all. But in the end, you always have this Flagellant and you always have this massive advantage. So yeah, the Antiquarian did reasonably well, but any other of the SHEP'S variants would have been superior here, yeah. Which is a little bit sad. It is a little bit sad. So there's going to be a big Zealous there, and I think you can pretty much say goodbye to your Crusader right now. I'm just going to drop a Bellow here. Yeah, I move forward, that's okay. Then drop a Bellow and the Festering Vapors. He's gonna be gone, and then there's literally no way that the Man-at-Arms can win against the Flagellant. So let's just skip on until the end of the match. Actually, I'm not sure if you caught that, but the Man-at-Arms just decided that, you know what, I can do it myself. Called the Crusader a traitorous Viper and just yeeted him out from the match. I think my opponent is gonna surrender now because, I mean, you kind of have to realize that you can't win this 1v3. But yeah, GG's. Alright, since this video has been quite long, I will leave SHEP'S number 3 and SHEP'S number 4 for the next video, just so I don't rush through both the teams, because they're also really, really nice. So here's SHEP'S number 4 with the Occultist, and number 3 is with the Grave Robber, so we will be trying that tomorrow. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you again another time. Cheers.